Good morning, Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. This is Jenn B, and you're tuned in live to the show of the land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Today, we are going to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers up 3-0 on the Miami Heat in the first round of the NBA playoffs. We will then talk some Columbus Blue Jackets news, and then we will talk some Monsters playoff hockey as they beat the Toronto Marlies and move on to the next round. And then we will get into some baseball with the Cleveland Guardians, the Columbus Clippers, and the Akron Rubber Ducks. We will then talk some volleyball with the Columbus Fury and the Ohio State men's volleyball team. We will wrap things up with some football and some football. There was a little thing called the NFL draft this past weekend. So we will talk about that. Who did the Browns get, and where did some of our college guys land? And we will talk about the Columbus Crew, of course, and they had some trades over the past week, and they had another match. So we'll see how they are doing. So stay right Jenn B on the show of the land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I will be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the show of the land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Whoa, I was big there. Shout out to all of our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Head on over to planetjerky.net to place your orders today. Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also supports the research for mental health. So be sure to check them out. Head on over and you can place your orders using code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear. Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Head on over to iesportsradio.com/seal the deal wax seals to place your orders for the perfect finish to your letters, invitations, and gifts. And of course, we wouldn't be here without IE Sports Radio. Be sure to follow IE Sports Radio on all of the socials at IE Sports Radio. You can check out our website, iesportsradio.com, and be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons right here on YouTube. You can follow me on X, the Show of the Land IE, and my personal accounts on X, IG, Threads, and Blue Sky at BelieveLand Girl, and on TikTok, Jen.BelieveLand. Let's get into the sports of it all. How about those Cleveland Cavaliers? Shout out real quick to the chat room. We have Taryn Rodriguez. He says, good morning and have a great show. Thank you so much, Taryn. Taryn is the host of Set Point, our volleyball show. You can catch him on that show tomorrow. And he is also the host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, which you can catch on Fridays. He also co-hosts a 3 and Out with Larry B, our CEO. You can catch them on Saturdays during football season and important football season related things, such as this past weekend with the NFL draft. Shout out to Ralph Calise. He says, have a great show. The Browns took a beating in the past draft show last night on 3 and Out. I'm sure they did, but I respectfully disagree, and I don't really care what anybody else says. Anywho, and he says Cleveland rocks. Thank you, Ralph. Ralph is the host of the Yinzer Report, and we will talk shortly about a couple of guys that went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But before we get to that, we will be talking some Cavs basketball. The Cavs have been playing the Miami Heat in the first round of the NBA playoffs, and they are off to a 3-0 lead. They won game one against the Miami Heat, 121-100 last Sunday. Donovan Mitchell led the team with 30 points, and Jarrett Allen had a double-double with 12 points and 11 rebounds. Just a note on Donovan Mitchell's 30 points. He entered the fourth quarter with just 13. So he had a phenomenal fourth quarter. Game 2 was on Wednesday, and the Cavs won 121-112. And it seemed as though maybe 121 was the magic number for the Cavs in this playoff run. Donovan Mitchell led the team once again with 30 points. Oh, my mistake. It was this one that he scored just 13 points in the first 3 quarters. I actually have it in my notes. Silly me. I jumped ahead of myself. He scored just 13 points in the first 3 quarters, but he lit it up in the fourth, scoring 17 to secure the win. This game was a little bit closer than the first one. The first game was close. Until about halfway through the third quarter, and then the Cavs started to pull away. The game on Wednesday was was more back and forth than us Cavs fans would like, but got it done. Still won by 9. Game 3 was yesterday afternoon. It was an early game. It was at 1 against the Miami Heat. Darius Garland was out with a toe sprain, and Sam Merrill got the start in his place. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, after some words had been exchanged between Darius Garland and Tyler Hero about who plays better on defense, or I don't even know. It was just stupid. But, the words were flying and people were getting mad, and well, it lit a flame under somebody. Sure as heck was not the Miami Heat. The Cleveland Cavaliers, without Darius Garland, won 124-87. Funny note, I actually have in my notes that they won 124-37. Now that would have been something, but it was 87. 87, not 37. And Jarrett Allen actually led the team with 22 points, and Ty Jerome recorded his first career double-double with 13 points and 11 assists, which was the most assists off the bench in the playoffs in franchise history for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So congratulations to Ty Jerome on that achievement. And as you see, Donovan Mitchell is not in these notes. Donovan Mitchell was not having a great game, but some other guys stepped up. Ty Jerome, obviously, Jarrett Allen, DeAndre Hunter had a great game. Max Strus had a phenomenal game, and they got it done without Darius Garland and with Donovan Mitchell being a little cold. So I am impressed with this team so far. Game 4 will be tomorrow for the sweep. If they win tomorrow, the series is over. However, if by chance they do not win tomorrow and game 5 is necessary, it will be on Wednesday. Game 6 will be on Friday. Game 7 will be next Sunday if necessary. I highly doubt it will be necessary. I fully expect after the shellacking the Cavs gave the Miami Heat yesterday that this will be over Monday or Wednesday at the absolute latest. However, I hope Monday, because if they have to play on Wednesday, it kind of screws up the Monsters playoff series. So, because they do play in the same arena. So, we'll keep an eye on it, but hopefully, Cavs will finish things off in game 4. Shout out to T5 jumping in the chat. And he says, I respect what the Brownies did in the draft, and the Cavs got round 1 on easy mode. I couldn't agree more. And a T5 is the host of the Crescent City Connection. You can catch him on Saturdays, and he is also co-host of the IE Wrestling Show, which you can catch on Thursdays. All right. Little bit more Cavs news over the past week. Jarrett Allen earned the highest field goal percentage in the NBA award at 70.6%. It is also the highest field goal percentage in franchise history. So congratulations to Jarrett Allen on that achievement. And he also did this while playing in all 82 games of the season. So not a small feat by any means. Ty Jerome came in third in the voting for Sixth Man of the Year, which I think is absolutely ridiculously insane. But it is what it is. However, Evan Mobley was named the Defensive Player of the Year, and he is the first Defensive Player of the Year in Cavs franchise history. So congratulations to Evan Mobley, and I'm sure this is just the first of many to come because he is very, very young. Let's move on to some hockey. We will talk some Blue Jackets. There's a little bit of Blue Jackets news. I mentioned last week that I'm going to do a little season recap. I will do that probably next week because this week we have a lot to talk about with the NFL draft and the Cavs and the Monsters and the playoffs and all of that fun stuff and baseball season, of course. So we'll get a little bit more into the Blue Jackets season review probably next week when we don't really have a whole lot of football news to talk about. But they did make some changes to the coaching staff this past week. The Blue Jackets are moving on from strength and conditioning coach Kevin Collins and assistant athletic trainer Nate Gotu. Collins has been with the team since 2010 and Gotu has been with the team since 2012. They also have moved on from equipment manager Jamie Healy and video coach Dan Singleton. Both had been with the team since its inception in 2000. So Mr. Waddell is cleaning house and trying to straighten things out for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He did also extend assistant coaches Nicholas Backstrom, Jared Bull, and Steve McCarthy. So a couple people let go, a couple people extended, trying to solidify things for this coaching staff so that this team can take the next step next year after they had damn, I see why the Pels wouldn't trade or the Cavs wouldn't trade the Pels Jarrett Allen. That's right. That's right. That's right. He is a Cleveland Cavalier for a long time because they just signed him to a contract extension in the off season. So he's got a ways to go before he's up again for anything because they owe him a boatload of moolah. Next in the hockey is the Cleveland Monsters, who are playing in the Calder Cup playoffs. Round 1 was against the Toronto Marlies, and the Blue Jackets took game 1 on Thursday, 4-3 in overtime. Goals were scored by Denton Matejchuk, Wolmy Richard, Luca Pinelli, and Luca Pinelli. Luca Pinelli had the winner in overtime, and it was Luka's first and second ever professional goals. So congratulations to Luka on that achievement. Saturday, last night, actually, the Monsters played the Toronto Marlies again. And this was a 3-game series, so they just needed to win last night to advance, and that they did, though it was not easy. They won 4-3 in 2 overtimes. Hunter McCowan, Rocco Grimaldi, and Denton Matejchuk scored the goals in regular time, and James Malatesta had the winner in second overtime. Second overtime. Man, these goalies, after they each gave up 3 goals in regular time, weren't having it through 2 overtimes. They weren't allowing anybody to score. Absolute craziness. I believe, if I remember correctly, I didn't write it down, but I believe both goalies had 38 or more saves. I believe it was the Marlies goalie was at like 38 and the Monsters goalie was at like 45 or 46 or something like that. Ridiculousness, right? But like I said, the Monsters will go on to play Laval Rocket in a 5-game series starting on Wednesday or Thursday. And herein comes what happens in the Cavs series affects the Monsters. So if the Cavs win on Monday, the Monsters will play on Wednesday. If the Cavs lose on Monday and have to play game 5 on Wednesday, then the Monsters will not play their game 1 until Thursday. And game 2 is scheduled for Friday. So if they can get the game in on Wednesday, because the Cavs swept the Miami Heat, they get a little break in between the 2 games. But if the Cavs don't sweep the Miami Heat, the Monsters have to play back-to-backs and then travel to Canada for the rest of the series. So here's hoping, for the Monsters' sake and for my sanity's sake, the Cavs win on Monday and close out the series against the Miami Heat. That is going to wrap things up for the hockey and the basketball of it all. I am going to take a short break, and when I come back, we will talk some baseball. The Cleveland Guardians, the Columbus Clippers, and the Akron Rubber Ducks. Stay right here with me, Jenn B, on the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and I will be right back after this.
Hey, sports fans. Are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up in the panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a down south education on Florida sports and athletics. It's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies,
And your one-timers,
you wicked wristas.
and be sure to protect your 5-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
Welcome back to the Show of the Land with Jenn B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We are going to talk some baseball, but before I do that, be sure to check out some of our other shows. We have Palm Tree Sports with Corey Pujols. He will be on later tonight. And The Neutral Zone with Adam and Zach. You can catch them on Tuesday evenings. Baseball. The Cleveland Guardians had themselves a week. They finished out the sweep against the Pittsburgh Pirates on Sunday, winning 5-4 in the 10th inning. The starting lineup was left field, Stephen Kwan; right field, Nolan Jones; third base, Jose Ramirez; first base, Kyle Manzardo; DH, Carlos Santana; second base, Gabriel Arias; center field, Angel Martinez; catcher, Austin Hedges; shortstop, Brian Rocchio; and starting pitcher was Logan Allen. Logan Allen went 5 2/3 innings, had 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 1 earned run. So not a bad outing for him at all. Stephen Kwan hit a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning, and Kyle Manzardo had a 2-run home run in the 7th. Emmanuel Clase blew the save, allowing Pittsburgh to tie it and take the game into extra innings. Yikes. Manuel's not having the greatest season so far. However, this was his 3rd outing in as many days, if I'm not mistaken, and it was later reported that he was experiencing some shoulder soreness. He did throw quite a few pitches during that blown save as well. Joey Cantillo actually came in the 10th and earned his first career save. So congratulations to Joey. Monday, the Guardians started a series against the New York Yankees, winning 2 out of 3. Monday, they won 6-4 with a starting lineup of left field, Stephen Kwan; right field, Nolan Jones; third base, Jose Ramirez; DH, Kyle Manzardo; first base, Carlos Santana; second base, Gabriel Arias; center field, Angel Martinez; catcher, Bo Naylor; shortstop, Brian Rocchio; and starting pitcher, Gavin Williams. Gavin went 6 1/3 innings, had 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 2 earned runs. A much more Gavin Williams-esque outing. And we had 2 home runs in this one, and they were back-to-back home runs. A 3-run home run by Jose Ramirez, followed by a solo home run by Kyle Manzardo in the 3rd inning. Then Tuesday, the Guardians again played the New York Yankees. They won this one 3-2 after a 3-run 6th inning. The starting lineup for this one was left field, Stephen Kwan; right field, Nolan Jones; third base, Jose Ramirez; DH, Kyle Manzardo; first base, Carlos Santana; catcher, Bo Naylor; center field, Angel Martinez; second base, Daniel Schneemann; shortstop, Brian Rocchio; starting pitcher, Tanner Bybee. Bybee went 6 innings, had 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 2 earned runs. And Cade Smith earned the save in this one. Wednesday, the Guardians went for the sweep and fell short, losing to the Yankees 5-1. Starting lineup was left field, Stephen Kwan; second base, Gabriel Arias; DH, Jose Ramirez; first base, Carlos Santana; third base, Will Wilson; center field, Angel Martinez; right field, Jhonkensy Noel; catcher Austin Hedges, shortstop Brian Rocchio, and starting pitcher Luis Ortiz. Luis went 4 1/3 inning, had 8 strikeouts, 5 walks, 4 earned runs. He struggled early, but settled down and managed to get 8 strikeouts. But sadly, he gave up 2 early runs in the first and was pitching from behind the entire game, and the offense just could not get things going. Will Wilson was in his major league debut and did get his first major league hit in the bottom of the ninth, and it was a single. So, congratulations to Will Wilson for that achievement. The Guardians were supposed to start a series against the Boston Red Sox on Friday. However, it was storming like crazy here on Friday. So that game was postponed and they played a doubleheader yesterday. The Guardians won game 1 5-4. Ben Lively was the starter. He went 5 innings, had 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 4 earned runs. And Cade Smith earned the save once again. The game 2 had a little bit of a shakeup on this one. The starting pitcher was Doug Nikhazy, who was recalled from AAA Columbus as the 27th man for the doubleheader. It was his MLB debut. He went 3 innings, had 3 strikeouts, 6 walks, and 6 earned runs. So not the greatest outing for him in his major league debut. Guardians lost this one 7-3. They will have the rubber match this afternoon. But in this one, we did have a home run. John Kenzie Noel, Mr. Big Christmas himself, finally got his first home run of the season, a 2-run home run in the 4th inning. Now we have some roster changes that have happened throughout the week, so we will talk about those a little bit here. Following Sunday's game against the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Guardians selected the contract of right-handed pitcher Zach Kent from AAA Columbus and designated Tristan McKenzie for assignment. Tristan has had a rough start to the season, starting with an 11+ ERA. So not an overly surprising move there. The Guardians also, after Monday's game against the Yankees, selected infielder Will Wilson from AAA Columbus and placed Lane Thomas on the 10-day IL with a bone bruise in his wrist. And they moved pitcher Trevor Stephan to the 60-day IL. Prior to the doubleheader yesterday, the Guardians called up left-handed pitcher Doug Nikhazy from AAA Columbus, selected left-handed pitcher Kobe Allard from AAA Columbus, placed Eric Zabrowski on the 60-day IL. He's also a pitcher, and they optioned Zach Kent back to AAA Columbus. Kobe Allard actually pitched extremely well after Nikhazy went out following the 3rd inning. He only allowed 1 run after he came in, and he did quite well. So he may be staying. I don't know about Doug. I mean, it was probably a lot of jitters, and it was freezing freaking cold yesterday. So not really baseball weather, so that could play a role in his outing. Plus, I'm sure there were some nerves in there. Shout out to my husband jumping in the chat. The Guardians are currently in second place in the AL Central behind the Detroit Tigers. Next up for the Guardians, they will finish the series against Boston this afternoon, as I said earlier, and then they will have a 4-game series against the Minnesota Twins starting on Monday, and that will go through Thursday. And then Friday, they start a 3-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays. So things aren't getting any easier in Guardians land. They don't have any days off coming up anytime soon. I think their next day off is a week from Thursday. So it's going to be a long stretch there for them. Let's talk. Oh my gosh, I never changed my colors for the Guardians. Oh, well, we'll change them for the Clippers. There we go. Columbus Clippers. Bad week. Bad week in Columbus. They finished out the series against Louisville with a loss, and then they went 1-4 against Lehigh Valley. They will finish out the series against Lehigh Valley today, and then their next series starts on Tuesday and goes through Sunday against St. Paul. They dropped to 5th place from 1st place. Yikes. When it's this early in the season, going on a little losing streak can really affect those standings big time. The Clippers also lost Juan Brito, who underwent surgery to repair a torn ligament in his thumb, and he is expected to miss 8 to 12 weeks. The injury occurred while sliding into third base last Thursday. So prayers up for Juan Brito for a smooth and speedy recovery, and hopefully he can get back out on the diamond in a couple of months. Now for the Akron Rubber Ducks, and of course our Travis Benzena watch. The Rubber Ducks had a much better week than did the Clippers. They went 4-2 this week, losing the last one in the series to Erie, but they've gone 4-1 against Richmond. They will finish the series against Richmond today, and on Tuesday we'll start a series against Altoona Tuesday through Sunday. The Rubber Ducks are currently in 2nd place. So not too shabby. Travis Bazana, watch. Had a rough week. He did add on a couple of RBIs and a stolen base, but that's about it. He's up to 71 at bats, 1 home run, 11 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, and his OPS is down to 729. And for whatever reason, I did not put his batting average, but I believe that is also down. It was over 3 last week. It is in the 2s this week. I want to say it's like 294 or around there. That is going to wrap up the baseball. So now we are going to talk some volleyball before we head into the next break and get into the draft. We will talk some Columbus Fury. The Columbus Fury only had 1 match this week, and sadly they lost it in 5 sets. They won set 1, lost sets 2 and 3, won set 4 to force a set 5, but lost set 5. Paulo Cerami, however, did record a franchise record 25 digs in this match. So congratulations to Paulo. And next up for the Columbus Fury tonight, they will play the Orlando Valkyries, and Thursday, the San Diego Mojo. But we're not done with volleyball because some men's team down in Columbus was playing in a tournament this week. Wednesday, the Ohio State Buckeyes played McKendree. Ohio State came in at number 3. McKendree was number 2. And the Buckeyes swept McKendree in 3 straight sets, winning 25-22, 25-19, and 25-19 to advance to the finals. But in the finals, they got swept. And it was not pretty. They lost the first set 10-25. But they made it as the 3 seed, so that is fantastic. Congratulations to the Buckeyes as their season comes to its finish. Stanislaw Chinsky and Shane Wetzel were named all to the all tournament team. So congratulations to both of those gentlemen, and congratulations to the Ohio State Buckeyes men's volleyball team on a fantastic season. Check out the chat. We don't have anything new. So, going to take a short break. And when I come back, we will get into the NFL draft. How did our Cleveland Browns fare? What guys in our local schools have found their NFL starting place? And we'll talk some UDFAs as well, and then we will wrap up the show with the Columbus Crew, of course, because that's how we do it around here. So stay right here with me, Jenn B, on the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and I will be right back after this.
Are you a fan of Minnesota sports? Do you love the Vikings and hate the Packers? Are you a fan of the Timberwolves, Twins, Wild, Lynx, St. Paul Saints? Here on the Bold North Breakdown, we'll talk about all of those professional teams as well as all the college teams in the area. That's your basketball teams, football, hockey, volleyball, men's and women's sports alike. We talk about them all. Here on the Bold North Breakdown. Join me, your host, Glenn Ritter, every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central to discuss all that is happening in the Minnesota sports scene here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No, not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on the defining moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
You are back live with Jenn B on the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Be sure to check out our other wonderful shows, the Bold North Breakdown with Glenn Ritter. You can catch him on Thursdays usually, but this past week he went on Wednesday. And the Defining Moment, which is usually on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but it hasn't been on the last week or so. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns draft. So, prior to the draft, the Browns signed cornerback Nick Needham. He played his first 6 seasons with the Miami Dolphins after signing as a undrafted free agent. He played in 63 games, had 200 total snaps, 144 solo tackles, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 6 interceptions. He is 28 years old, 6'1", and 196 pounds. So we have another cornerback. I'm shocked because the Browns don't like cornerbacks, right? Anywho, prior to the draft, also, the Browns traded 6th round picks 179 and 216 and 7th round pick 255 to the Houston Texans for 5th round pick 166 and a 2027 5th round pick. As the draft got underway, the Browns made yet another trade, trading the number 2 overall pick, the Browns' 4th round pick 104 and their 6th round pick 200 to the Jacksonville Jaguars for number 5 overall, Jacksonville's 2nd round pick 36, Jacksonville's 4th round pick 126, and Jacksonville's 2026 first round pick. So, Browns did not come away with Travis Hunter. No, Jacksonville did. But the Browns did get the best defensive tackle in the draft, Mason Graham, out of Exeter, Michigan, at pick 5. At pick 33, they got linebacker Carson Swessinger out of UCLA. Pick 36, a running back Quinshawn Judkins out of OHIO. Then at pick 67, staying at home once again, they took a tight end Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green University. Pick 94, the pick that surprised everybody. They took a quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, out of Oregon. Pick 126, they took running back Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee. Then they weren't done. They made another trade. They traded with Seattle, giving Seattle pick 166 in the 5th and pick 192 in the 6th, the Browns' last 2 picks, to move up to pick 144 and select, drum roll please, quarterback Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado, who fell to the 5th round. So, what we got going on here in Cleveland right now? We got three running backs. 3 running backs. Jerome Ford, Quinshawn Judkins, Dylan Sampson. Still got Nick Chubb out there in free agency. So, what's going to happen there? We have 4, technically 5, but 4 quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. So, and then there's Deshaun Watson, who we don't talk about. I think this draft pretty much confirms that the Browns are done with the Deshaun Watson experiment. So, I mean, there's very little chance that Deshaun Watson would be able to play this season anyway after a double Achilles tear. So, we're not even going to talk about Deshaun Watson. Shout out to Marcus Losgate in the chat. And my husband says, ooh, football talk as I start my new Madden match. He's a little obsessed with Madden. And he said he thought of me the moment they drafted Sanders. Yeah, I'm still in shock over this draft. It is so weird. I mean, I'm telling you, when they picked Dylan Gabriel, I threw my phone. I was like, they did not just do that. But quick mention of Taryn. He says Loyola played complete volleyball yesterday. They absolutely did. They beat the pants off Ohio State. And he said, but it would have been great to see Ohio State play in the NCAA tournament since they are hosting it. And I couldn't agree more. I thought for sure they would make it, but they did not. So it is what it is. So back to the quarterback situation in Cleveland. It's going to be an interesting offseason. And I will say this, I do not in any way, shape, or form envy Kevin Stefanski and the rest of that coaching staff for the evaluations and decisions they are going to have to make this year, especially at the quarterback position. I do expect that one of the three young guys, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and or Shador Sanders, will be trade bait. But I don't think Joe Flacco's going anywhere. They're paying him the most out of the three. So I don't think Joe Flacco is going anywhere, and he also has guaranteed money, where Kenny Pickett has guaranteed money, but it's only $2.5 million. I don't see them moving on from Dylan Gabriel being a third round draft pick unless it's via trade for equal compensation. So chances are trade bait will be Kenny Pickett and or Shador Sanders. It did come out following the pick of Dylan Gabriel that the Browns have been sneaking around and they made multiple visits with Dylan Gabriel in the pre-draft process that nobody knew about. I have not heard Dylan Gabriel mentioned with the Browns this entire pre-draft process. He had been mentioned prior to the end of the college football season when it wasn't certain where the Browns were going to land in the draft order. But since they landed at pick 2, not once heard Dylan Gabriel mentioned with the Browns. But the Browns front office met with Dylan Gabriel multiple times in the pre-draft process. So interesting. Another interesting tidbit about Shador Sanders. Bill Musgrave, the Browns quarterback coach, is good friends with Deion Sanders. They played together in San Francisco. And Deion Sanders trusts Bill Musgrave with his son. So I know a lot of Browns fans are worried about what the Deion effect is going to be like. My answer to that is number one, Deion Sanders is a football coach. He's going to be busy for a good portion of the NFL season coaching his own team. 2, he trusts Bill Musgrave to take care of his son. So I don't anticipate a whole lot of Deion Sanders noise. I will say I am quite impressed by Shador Sanders' handling of the entire situation and his responses when asked about how hard it was to handle the slide when he was projected to go in the top 5. And he sounds like a kid who's ready to come in here and work and prove that he belongs. So I think it's going to be very interesting. Dylan Gabriel has never not been the starter in his entire football career. He played 6 years in college. He's not gonna go down without a fight. So I think it's going to be very interesting. Kenny Pickett is fighting for his NFL career. The only one who really has nothing to lose here is Joe Flacco. Because, I mean, let's face it, he's 40. If it doesn't work out with the Browns, he could just go hang out with his kids, right? So it's going to be an interesting preseason, off-season I'm very interested to see what comes out of rookie minicamp, which will be coming up here in the next couple of weeks. What people have to say about Shador and Dylan. And, one thing I can say for the Browns is they're never boring. Never boring. Let's talk some undrafted free agents that the Browns have been reported to have signed. We have tackle Jason Ivey out of NCANT, safety Donovan McMillan out of Pitt, cornerback Dom Jones from Colorado State, guard D'Artagnan Tinsley from Cincinnati, cornerback Lamarian James from TCU, long snapper Brent Matisic out of TCU also, DT Aiden Huntington from Tulane. That's T5's area of the world right there, Tulane. He talked some Tulane football yesterday on his show, actually. Tight end Eli Wilson out of Appalachian State. Running back Amani Marshall, Appalachian State also. Wide receiver Gage Larvadane out of South Carolina. And linebacker Joe Puce out of Wisconsin. So now we're going to move on to the college ranks. Let's see who of our favorite players from our favorite college teams had landing spots in the NFL draft. We will start with the Ohio State Buckeyes, who had 14 draftees in this draft. That is the most of any college team in the league this season. Wide receiver Emeka Ibuka went off the board first. He went at pick 19 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Guard Donovan Jackson went at 24 to the Minnesota Vikings. Defensive tackle Tyleek Williams went at 28 to the Detroit Lions. Tackle Josh Simmons went at 32 to the Kansas City Chiefs. Running back Quinshon Judkins went at 36 to the Cleveland Browns, and running back Trevion Henderson went at 38 to the New England Patriots. Defensive end JTT went at 45 to the Indianapolis Colts. Linebacker Cody Simon, 115 to the Arizona Cardinals. Safety Latham Ransom. I can never say his name, and I don't know why it does not want to come out of my mouth. Latham Ransom went at 122 to the Carolina Panthers. Defensive end Jack Sawyer went at pick 123 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. DT Ty Hamilton went at 148 to the LA Rams. Cornerback Jordan Hancock, 170 to the Buffalo Bills. Cornerback Denzel Burke, 174 to the Arizona Cardinals. And quarterback Will Howard, 185 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Jack and Will reunite in Pittsburgh. Blech. Anywho, center Seth McLaughlin signed as an undrafted free agent with the Cincinnati Bengals. Tackle Josh Fryer signed as an undrafted free agent with the Arizona Cardinals. And tight end G. Scott Jr. went to the New England Patriots as an undrafted free agent. Now for some Toledo ball. Toledo had one draftee in the draft, and that was defensive tackle Darius Alexander, who went at pick 65 to the New York Giants. They have also had a few UDFAs. Linebacker Lance Dixon to the Cardinals. Tight end Anthony Torres to the Rams. Wide receiver Jerwan Newton to the Denver Broncos, and safety Maxon Hook to the Philadelphia Eagles. Next on our college tour, we have Bowling Green, as we already talked about. Harold Fannin Jr., tight end, went at 67 to the Cleveland Browns, and then quarterback Connor Bazelak went UDFA to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oops, I forgot to change it. There we go. Harold Fannin Jr. to the Cleveland Browns, pick 67. Connor Bazelak, UDFA to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then to wrap things up, we have a couple of other guys who went UDFA for a couple other schools in the area. For Ohio University, cornerback Roman Parody went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wide receiver Coleman Owen to the Indianapolis Colts. Running back Anthony Tyus III to the Detroit Lions. And last but not least, Youngstown State. Offensive lineman Jason Williams, UDFA to the New York Giants. Congratulations to all of these young men who had their dreams come true over this past weekend. Now we are going to move out of the football into the football. Sorry, I have a little tickle in my throat. This weather has been driving my allergies up a wall, y'all. Up a wall. The Columbus Crew have been busy trading this past week. They traded DeJuan Jones to the San Jose Earthquakes for $425,000 in general allocation money and a 2025 international roster slot. They then acquired $250,000 in general allocation money from the Houston Dynamo for said 2025 international roster slot. They then traded cash for forward Alihu Ibrahim from Houston Dynamo. So 3 trades, 2 with Houston Dynamo, 1 with the San Jose Earthquakes. Got 1 player, traded away a player, and got some money. So that is where things stand in the trade market with the Columbus Crew. I'm sure they're not done, but we will see what happens. Saturday, last night, they played the San Jose Earthquakes, with whom they just made a trade. And they won 2-1. Sean Zawatsky scored a goal in the 28th minute. Max Arfston scored the winning goal in the 62nd minute. And Max Arfston was then named the man of the match. The Columbus Crew are currently 2nd in the Eastern Conference, just 1 point behind rival Cincinnati FC. Their next match will be this coming Saturday, May 3rd, against Charlotte FC. Hopefully they can continue that winning, getting another win, and maybe Cincinnati will lose or draw so that Columbus can take the spot away and be in first place. That is going to wrap things up for all that is Cleveland and Columbus sports. I will be back at you next Sunday, same time, same place, 11 a.m., right here on YouTube. The Show of the Land with Jenn B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Today we have the Guardians playing. There's also a NASCAR race. You know that thing, NASCAR at Talladega. Be sure to check out that. And the Columbus Fury also played later on tonight. And then, of course, tomorrow we have the Cavs going for the sweep of the Miami Heat. So check those out. Have a fantastic week. And like I said, I will catch you back here next Sunday with more Cleveland and Columbus sports. Signing off, this is Jenn B for the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.